There is no way that this happens as a new report has dropped surrounding a trade involving Damian Lillard and the Miami Heat. And we're going to break down this rumor and discuss what it can mean going forward as these trade reports and rumors are circulating. We also have Bobby Portis speaking out on some very interesting things surrounding the Bucks. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, if you're part of the 80% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Bucks content. We're on the road and very close to 1,500 subscribers, so subscribing is free. Make sure to hit that button. But there's a lot to go over today, and specifically regarding more trade rumors for the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, obviously, at this point, things are getting a little bit ridiculous. Trade rumors are coming up every day, whether that's in the form of Giannis trade rumors, whether that's Dame trade rumors, and some more actually possible ones surrounding, of course, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, Marjon Beauchamp, all those guys. But today we're going to take a step back and look at a trade rumor that has come out, and it's a little bit ridiculous, and it's about Damian Lillard. You can see this article drop. Bucks predicted to trade $112.6 million star to Heat for a 4-player package, and it is involving the Miami Heat. So the Miami Heat have a colossal decision to make in the next few months to keep Jimmy Butler on the team or to trade Butler. That is the question. If Miami does decide to deal Butler, it won't be starved for suitors. The Golden State Warriors and Houston Rockets would obviously put up offers on the table. But if Miami executive Pat Riley was looking to upgrade in blockbuster fashion, if they decide to keep Jimmy Butler, enter the Milwaukee Bucks, who are in shambles but want to avoid trading the better and younger of their two megastars if one of them must go. Therefore, Milwaukee could walk away with a big package by offering Damian Lillard to Miami, as pointed out by Bleacher Report's Andy Bailey. And here's the deal. Damian Lillard and DeLon Wright for Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Nikola Jovic, and a 2031 top 3 protected first-round pick. And before we get into the rest of this article, I just want to discuss this trade a little bit. So obviously, this would be a complete retool for the Milwaukee Bucks. They obviously won the championship in 2021 and then struggled a little bit the next year, but they ultimately made the Dame trade after the 2022 season. They got rid of Drew Holiday, who went to the Celtics. They obviously won the championship last season. It's at the point now where the biggest question is, will the Milwaukee Bucks even... I don't even think they're going to consider a Damian Lillard trade at this time. He's owed a lot of money. They kind of went all in on the asset of Damian Lillard. And for them to trade him at this point, Lillard, that is, would be very... I mean, it would make sense in the sense of if they're trying to fully retool. But they did just win 2 games in a row, albeit against the Raptors and the Pistons. But they're in a fine spot. Like, the Eastern Conference is very bad. It is terrible. You can really finish near 500 and still have a chance to get in the playoffs. And you could probably finish below 500 in the East this year and get in a play-in spot. So if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, I think waiting until your whole team gets healthy, waiting for Chris Middleton to come back, wait for Gary Trent Jr. to hopefully continue to get things going. And then by that point, you'll be able to actually see where your team currently stands. And Damian Lillard and Giannis haven't really had the opportunity to play together a ton. We saw it briefly last season, a little bit. This season we saw it again a little bit, and they've played well together. They've been scoring a ton. They've been putting up over 70 points, a couple of times, multiple times. But the supporting cast around them has been very lackluster. Now, whether that is in the form of Gary Trent Jr., who's been bad, and Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, who haven't been able to score the ball a ton. We saw what happens when, and we saw Brook Lopez step up when Giannis plays well and Dame play well, and when any of their supporting cast, when guys like Brook Lopez, Gary Trent Jr. are able to step up a little bit, that's when you can start to actually pencil in some wins for this team. But at this point, that is yet to happen. And regarding the actual trade, I don't think this is enough necessarily for Damian Lillard. I just don't know if it makes any sense for the Bucks, because I guess the mindset for the Milwaukee Bucks, or the person who wrote this on the Milwaukee Bucks side, was you'd be able to pair Tyler Hero with Giannis, but you're getting Tyler Hero, who's a solid player. We'll get him in a minute. You're getting then Duncan Robinson, Nikola Jovic, who, interesting. Nikola Jovic is very interesting. Duncan Robinson, we kind of know who he is, and you're getting a first-round pick. I don't think, and again, you can't really fall into the sunk cost fallacy here with Damian Lillard. You're not going to get as much as you traded for him because A, he's getting older, and B, he's falling off a little bit, is a step slower. But, their explanation is Miami's title window might not open long, but it'd certainly be open with Lillard, Butler, Bam, and Spoelstra in place. And in that case, the front office might be willing to dangle much of the package it did for Damian Lillard back when the star was still with the Portland Trailblazers. The issue with that is for one, the Bucks, I think, are less desperate to trade Dame at this time. And for two, Tyler Hero's values probably, stayed the same, maybe went down a little bit. Duncan Robinson and Nikola Jovic, none of those guys have a crazy amount of value. And for the Bucks, this one only makes sense if the losses keep piling up what feels like an old, slow, and uninspired core around Giannis. So at least they admit that. This only makes sense if they continue to absolutely free fall. And then if you put up Damian Lillard at the trade deadline and the only offer you get that's decent is this, then maybe you do it. But looking at their stats, obviously Damian Lillard is having a very solid year this year. And he's averaging 26, 4, and 6, fairly efficient. And again, Tyler Hero is averaging 25, 5, and 5. He's having a very good season. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know. And again, he would fit alongside Giannis to a degree. There's no arguing that. But I just don't think they would want to headline a Damian Lillard trade after all the assets they gave up, and specifically, arguably, their most important player behind Giannis and Drew Holiday. After giving all of that up just to get back Tyler Hero and a pick is something that I'm not entirely sure many Bucks fans would want. Like, yes, Tyler Hero would help space the floor. He would probably play a little bit better, alongside Giannis and some of the guys they currently have. But you're giving up Damian Lillard, who also plays solid alongside Giannis. Obviously, Tyler Hero is less on-ball oriented. He's a much better off-ball shooter than Dame, but I don't know. It's interesting. And obviously, he's younger. That's the biggest thing. He's only 24 years old. So, I mean, it does make some sense. I just don't think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to want to go this route because it would be it'd be admitting to their failures, for one, regarding the trade. And it would make them deeper, younger, and more versatile. Nikola Jovic is exactly the kind of stretch four, makes sense next to the point Giannis, and if two-time MVPs attacking the floor spaced out by Hero, Jovic, and Duncan Robinson, it would be harder for opposing defenses to collapse on his drive. So, I mean, in theory, yes. If you have a Giannis, Hero, Jovic, and Duncan Robinson lineup, sure, your offense would be great, but that is probably the worst defensive lineup you could possibly have. I mean, a lineup filled with Tyler Hero, who's a below-average defender, Nikola Jovic, he's fine, and Duncan Robinson, who is one of the worst defenders in the league. That would be horrible. It would be a disaster defensively, and that's still their problem. But I guess if you want to go all in and get younger, it could make some sense. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. But speaking of trade rumors, Bobby Portis spoke out on the Giannis trade rumors, and he said Bobby doesn't believe in the Giannis trade rumors. Despite the Bucks' repetitive struggles, the Greek Freak, obviously we know he's leading the NBA in points, and I believe he's fourth in rebounds. But Bobby Portis spoke out on a podcast and said, "This is my 5th year in Milwaukee, man. Every year I've been here, they've been talking about Giannis leaving. It's just an every year type thing. It kind of gets old, and it kind of gets like a lot of clicks. Obviously, this year it's getting more clicks because our record is what it is. There's just so much speculation around the team. Can this team get it done? Do we have the right players? For us in our locker room, we're obviously close-knitted. I don't listen to all that. Guys in the locker room are locked in, and hopefully they stay locked in because you're 4-8 now. You have a chance as you continue to play games to really make up some ground on the East. And again, the Eastern Conference is very bad this year. You have a lot of different avenues and pathways to get into the playoffs, or again, their aspirations are not just the playoffs, it's to go further than that. But after this horrible start, if you get Chris Middleton back, we'll have an update on him probably in a video today or tomorrow. Get him back, you get Gary Trent Jr. continue to play well, especially building off of that game where they they won their last game. So if you can continue to get that going, then of course, they beat the Pistons, then things will be good. And again, I think Gary Trent Jr. can build off that Pistons game. I think the team can slowly start to get better, and I don't think they're going to need to resort to an absolute blockbuster trade like this, at least this season. Maybe in the offseason if things fall apart again. Who knows if Giannis will request a trade? I doubt it. Damian Lillard might, they might consider moving on from him as he's approaching 35 years old. So it's going to be interesting. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on all this. A lot of interesting news going on surrounding the Milwaukee Bucks, but at the end of the day, they need to keep winning, and they need to start winning very, very fast. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.